welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to a live Manchester United news and transfer news show. We've got a lot to discuss in today's show. Some updates coming in on Ferdi. I would say take this with a pinch of salt, but there's a couple updates from Turkey saying United making a serious bid for Ferdi. While it's not higher than Brighton's bid, it's a higher upfront fee and that they're considering it and that we're going to hijack Ferdi to Brighton. We're going to talk about the 2 or 3 news stories that come out on that just now, that apparently we've made serious offers for Ferdi. We've got news on McTominay's exit being close. Amrabat has left Manchester United. That has been gone. He's out. Lindelof's expected to be outdoors. Some updates on Lindelof gone, Eriksen gone, McTominay seriously considering offers, Napoli flown over to England to try and get a McTominay deal done, Sancho deal could be off, Berrada's genius plan to make sure he gets Ugarte, and Berrada speaks out and more. So please do go ahead and hit that like button, and of course subscribe down below if you're new as well. So I want to get into this opening story, which is on Ferdi. I would take this with a pinch of salt. I think Man United are probably being used to get Brighton to hurry up and stuff. Like, I'd like Ferdi. Man United have always had a strong interest in Ferdi. And apparently we're making a serious bid for him. I think with Mazraoui coming in, the possibility of us getting Ferdi is less, although we still want a left back. But I think until McTominay sold, I just don't know where we're getting the funds to bid for Ferdi, because all the remaining funds we have left go on a midfielder. So I would take this story with a pinch of salt. I think, had we sold a player, I could believe that we've made a bid for Ferdi. But there is a few reports coming out from Turkey saying we're making a bid for Ferdi, we have made a bid for Ferdi, and that it's being considered. Now, this has come out and it's going around Twitter. I still think take it with a pinch of salt. I think if we're going to buy a player, it's going to be a midfielder. I don't see us making a bid for a left back when all the remaining funds we have is going into a midfielder. And then if sales happen, the left back we get could be someone like Ferdi that is versatile because he can play in midfield. But it was said that Manchester United have submitted an offer for Ferdi and that United's offered the most money in initial payments for the player, but Brighton's offer's worth more with add-ons taken into account. The Fenerbahce president will make a decision over which offer to accept, United or Brighton's. I'm just assuming that United are being used to speed up Brighton to get the deal done, but I do know we have a long-standing interest in Ferdi, so if the deal drags on, potentially we do something there, we hijack it, but unless we get a midfielder in and a sale in, I don't see it happening. It's midfielder, and then anything else we do will be either a cheap left back on loan if there's no sales. If there is sales, it could be a Ferdi, it could be an attacker. I just don't know if we've got the budget to stretch that far as well, but I think he's probably Brighton bound as well. DM is urgent priority. I absolutely agree. DM is the urgent priority. I've not watched enough of Ferdi just to play. To be honest, me too. I've just watched him at the Euros and he was very, very good. So let's dive into the McTominay news, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. With Manchester United, this is what's going to happen. We're going to sign a midfielder and we're going to sign a cheap left back on loan if we do not sell any more players. But if we sell players, we sign a midfielder, potentially 2 midfielders, and then potentially a more expensive left back and potentially an attacker, depending on if Sancho is sold. So there's 2 to 4 signings expected. If no sales, it will be like a Reguilon and Alonso coming in at left back, and then it will be a midfielder. If there are sales, it could be 2 midfielders, maybe Ferdi, maybe an attacker. Now, what has been said on the McTominay sale? Because Man United have apparently informed Amrabat he's not coming back, they're not going to pursue him, and Amrabat has now been removed from the United website, and Amrabat has officially left United. Amrabat has left Manchester United, he's not part of the team going forward, and apparently that is official. Now, that's one midfield exit gone in Amrabat, but another midfield exit gone could be McTominay, and a third could be Eriksen, who we're going to talk about later in the show. It was said that Napoli have opened talks with Manchester United over the potential signing of Scott McTominay. The Italian club would prefer a loan deal as their transfer budget doesn't stretch to 25 to 30 million asking price. Scott McTominay is aware of Napoli's interest and the offer is under consideration. United want a more permanent deal. So obviously Napoli, if you don't know, giving you some more updates on this, Napoli have an interest in Scott McTominay. It's genuine, but would be surprised if United are willing to sanction a loan deal. They need transfer funds for replacement, and that the Napoli sporting director is in England holding talks with United about a move for McTominay. So yesterday we were told that the Napoli sporting director has flown to England to have talks with Manchester United about McTominay and pursue that deal. Now, interestingly, Rob Dawson is a good source of information when it comes to United, and it said that Napoli's interest and the offer is under consideration. So Rob Dawson is now saying that Napoli's offer for Scott McTominay is under consideration by those at Ineos. And there's also reports saying that Scott McTominay would probably prefer a move to Napoli than, of course, Fulham as well. So I guess Napoli's a bigger club, so I can understand that, but I didn't know if he wanted to stay in Fulham. Thank you very much for the super chat, Saeed. Good evening, Alice, or is it morning for you? Morning for me. Looking forward to hearing some good transfer news regarding United. Hit the like button, everyone. Really appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much, guys. Please do hit the like button. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Turkish PR trying to raise Ferdi's price tag by spreading fake news about United. That's what I think the Ferdi news is. I think we maybe go for Ferdi if he's there at the end of the market and we raise enough money through sales. But I am very skeptical about the Ferdi links. I think it is a little bit of BS, if I'm going to be honest with you guys as well. I wanted Ferdi instead of Mazraoui. The extra versatility could be useful for an injury-prone team. I think Ferdi and Mazraoui would be good, but I think Ferdi's a really good cover option to have, but I don't see United actually made. I know they've said we've made a bid, and I know there's 3 sources coming out saying we've made a bid, but I don't actually see United making a bid unless significant sales happen, because I know that the focus is on midfield. We won't sign another defender until we've got a midfielder in as well, but he can play fullback positions, wing and midfield. He is very much a Swiss Army knife type of player as well. McTominay will dig his heels, go through this every window, but somehow manages to stay put. And it is true, every window we get, McTominay might leave, and then McTominay doesn't leave. And it seems to be a little bit of a repetitive thing at the moment. But I think with McTominay having 1 year left on his contract, and with Ineos quite eager to offload McTominay, if he stays, they don't see it's the end of the world, but quite eager to offload McTominay. I do think we could finally have a window when we maybe get McTominay out the door. But again, it's a difficult one because we always think he's going to go and he doesn't go, but he's got 1 year left on his contract, and I think there's that motivation there for United to let him go. I mean, Laurie Whitwell, who's one of the most credible sources of information when it comes to Manchester United news, did say that Man United are open to sell McTominay for 25 million and that Napoli are weighing up an approach. Inquiries have been made by Fulham, Everton, Brentford, Galatasaray and Fenerbahce, is what's been said by Laurie Whitwell, one of the most reliable sources, that, there is a lot of interest in McTominay. There's a lot of interest in McTominay. The Muppeteers said that McTominay would be open to leaving Manchester United as well. And that obviously, Napoli have flown out to try and get a deal done. That could prompt Fulham to make a bigger bid. I think Fulham made a 23 million bid, according to one source, and we want 25 million. So we're only 3 million away in sort of Fulham's valuation as well. So yeah, I think there's definitely potential there. Someone said Napoli could use the funds generated from Victor Osimhen's sale to sign Scott McTominay. So they're saying that if Napoli sell Victor Osimhen, the reports just come out now from Di Marzio saying that if Napoli sell Victor Osimhen, they will use those funds to get McTominay. As of now, Napoli want a loan. And I think that's the worrying thing. We don't want to loan McTominay unless there's an obligation to buy. So the situation sort of is Fulham and Napoli want McTominay. Fulham are giving us 23 million. We want 30 million, but we're lowering it to 25 now. Napoli can't pay that unless they sell Osimhen. They want a loan deal with an obligation to buy. But potentially Napoli's interested in McTominay and raising interest in McTominay could, maybe prompt Fulham to put in another late bid for McTominay. They've not got a Palhinha replacement yet. There's still, they're trying to see if they can wait till the end of the window to get McTominay on the cheap because he's got 1 year left on his deal, but they know that Man United will just extend his deal, and McTominay's open to do that if need be. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any advancements on that. Anyone heard anything regarding McTominay's preference in club? I mean, there was rumours that he preferred Napoli, but it was again coming out from one of those like Corriere dello Sport, not exactly someone you would trust. It's not like it's come from Romano or something, but there was reports saying he would actually prefer Napoli, but it didn't come from anyone tier 1. Get a centre mid / DM signed, and Scott might be more keen to go. Do you know what I think is really interesting? And I don't think a lot of people have pointed this out, but Lindelof was going to stay put, and Lindelof's exit had stalled, and Lindelof didn't seem interested in going because he wanted to wait another year to see what offers he had. And now that we've signed De Ligt, because it was always said, we can't sign De Ligt unless Lindelof was sold. We kept saying that. We kept media briefing that. Now that we've signed De Ligt, all of a sudden Lindelof's looking at new clubs, and all of a sudden Lindelof stepped up his interest to leave United, and Lindelof's agents had it. It's almost like Lindelof thought, well, if I stay here, they can't sign De Ligt, which means I'll get to play because Euro's injured. And see out my contract and get a big money deal at the end of it. No, they've gone and signed De Ligt. And now we're going to sign De Ligt. Lindelof and his agent are looking for a move. And Man United are willing to sell Lindelof on the cheap. I mean, £6 to £9 million. We should be able to get 10 million, but United are willing to sell him on the cheap. But all of a sudden, Lindelof was one that we wanted to sell, and then Euro came in, and Euro got injured, and Lindelof was going to stay, and then we signed De Ligt, and now Lindelof's looking at leaving again. I almost feel like players like Lindelof think, well, if I don't leave, they're not going to sign a replacement, so I could stay and still get minutes. I think Lindelof's realised, no, they've signed my replacement, so I ain't going to get minutes, so I need to leave. But I generally didn't. I think he believed that maybe if he stayed, we would have signed De Ligt, and maybe he thought he'd play. And now he's realised he's really not going to get any minutes because Maguire's ahead of him, Yora's ahead of him, Martinez is ahead of him, De Ligt's ahead of him. He's fifth choice centre back. Him and Evans are competing for the fifth choice centre back there. I think Lindelof's like, okay, maybe I will leave. So I get that feeling if you bring another midfielder in, maybe there's that more desire for Scott McTominay to leave. Obviously, Amrabat apparently is not coming back now. So they will bring in a midfielder, I think, regardless, just for depth, with Amrabat obviously gone. But I think that would maybe push McTominay to leave, particularly if it is someone like Ugarte or Berge that is going to start over McTominay, for sure. Fofana wants AC Milan, according to Fabrizio Romano. Yeah, I'm actually going to get into that story. I've always said with the Fofana links, I think you have to take it with a pinch of salt because I do always worry if Monaco are using Manchester United to speed up AC Milan, to speed up that deal and get AC Milan to put in the bid that they wanted. It looks like Fofana's very close to joining AC Milan. I would have liked Yusuf Fofana. I'm a massive fan of Yusuf Fofana, but it looks like he's AC Milan bound as well. I'm just scrolling through the chat as well. Ugarte will be unveiled tomorrow at Old Trafford. You know what? If you're correct, I'd be amazed, but I don't think so. We've got a plan for Ugarte. We believe we can get Ugarte. We might drag it late into the window to give ourselves more favourable terms. I think we will get Ugarte, but I don't expect anything crazy to happen. So let's dive back into the news. So on Scott McTominay, he has interest from Napoli and it is being considered. There's also interest from Fulham, and obviously if Napoli sell Osimhen, they could maybe invest in the budget. Obviously Napoli's sporting directors in England to try and progress the move. So McTominay's exit from United is one to watch. Now, if McTominay is sold, well, actually it doesn't matter. If McTominay isn't sold, we're going to sign a midfielder, but if he is sold, we could sign two midfielders, and Man United are going to go for Ugarte or Berge this summer, depending on the price. Now, United believe that they'll get PSG to lower the Ugarte fee and that they'll get Ugarte. There's confidence in that from Ineos. But let's dive into these stories. Erik ten Hag would like to add another midfielder to his squad, but interest in Manuel Ugarte and Sander Berge has stalled because of what United believe are unrealistic transfer fees. United's financial position means that there's a realistic offer would be given serious thought. So it's come out here and said that Erik ten Hag would like to add another midfielder to his squad, but interest in Manuel Ugarte and Sander Berge has stalled because of what Man United believe to be unrealistic transfer fees. United's financial position means a realistic offer would be given serious thought. They also said that PSG are willing to lower that asking price for Ugarte as the weeks go by. Now, we've had a lot of information from a lot of sources in these last few days that PSG are going to lower their asking price for Ugarte. They want to sell him, as a desperation to sell him, and that Ineos are playing a game, particularly Berrada. And Berrada's apparently Omar Berrada's apparently the spearhead of this game, but Omar Berrada's game is wait, and Ineos are going to keep lowering the fee. It seems to be this kind of game from Omar Berrada where he's going to wait as the weeks go by, because he believes that PSG will lower the fee, because he knows that PSG want to sell Ugarte. Ugarte only wants United. Nobody else is going to pay 50 million for Ugarte. They've got Jan Evers in. If they keep Ugarte and he doesn't play, he's going to lose even more value. Berrada is more than willing to comfortably apparently take this Ugarte deal to deadline day so he can get him for, I'm talking like £38 million, which is what Ineos want to do apparently as well. But there's a confidence inside Ineos and Berrada that they can just play PSG into giving them Ugarte on their terms, not 50 million. You're talking 38 million with maybe 4 million in add-ons, 5 million add-ons. That's what United are looking at doing. If they can't get Ugarte, they will go for Sander Berge. But again, they only want to pay and spend 20 million max on Sander Berge. And those deals, United aren't going to do anything if Burnley want 25 million or if PSG want 50 million. They're waiting because they know both clubs have a desire to sell. And when both clubs sell, when we get to at the end of the window, they could make the move for more favourable terms. It seems to be what United's doing. So as much as I'd like an Ugarte breakthrough tomorrow, an Ugarte done deal tomorrow, I think Ineos are sort of playing a game to try and get the deal on their terms and more favourable terms as well. Are we sure other clubs are considering Amrabat Berge? I'm sure other clubs are considering Berge, like Fulham. But Amrabat, there was interest from Atletico Madrid and Turkey, but Amrabat seems to want to be waiting it out for United, but it doesn't look like United are going to make a move or express any serious interest in Amrabat. We were linked to Kvaratskhelia weirdly yesterday, but it was nothing credible, and I think it was just a bit of nonsense because Napoli had an interest in McTominay, and we obviously were linked to selling Sancho, and if we sell Sancho, we want another attacker in, so I think it was just more media not knowing much, but jumping the gun, making up a link between United and, of course, Kvaratskhelia, I don't think there was much in that as well. Alice, how excited are you about the signing of De Ligt? Very excited. I did a video on the United breakdown talking about why De Ligt and Mazraoui can change United. I think his technical ability on the ball is really going to lift the ceiling of the squad. Have you seen the massive change in Man United's defence since Ten Hag's come in? Let me show you this. Let me show you this before I get back into the news story. But yeah, this I think, the level to our defence. Obviously, I think that Dalot would probably actually start with Mazraoui to begin with in terms of right back when everybody's fit. Who knows? But look at that difference in our defence there. That's an absolutely mad difference. We look so much better defensively as well. And, if those players can stay fit, and that is the big if, that is the big question, that is a very good backline that United have. Now, Luke Shaw staying fit is literally like, probably not going to happen, but there's definitely been a big difference in United's backline and massive improvement there as well, which is good to see. But I'm going to get back into some more news. I'm going to back into some more stories because I've got a lot to get through in today's live show. So obviously United would like to add Berge or Ugarte, but it depends on the fee. They believe PSG is willing to lower the Ugarte fee. In terms of Youssouf Fofana, who we've been linked to a lot, he is one step away from joining AC Milan. It seems that the breakthrough is going to happen there. And I'm assuming that United have been used in these last few days to speed up AC Milan. I think this links and that Man United made an offer and Monaco could accept Man United's offer. Because 3 days ago, apparently we made an offer to Monaco for Fofana. And Monaco were going to accept that offer. And it came out from Sky Sports. It came out from a credible source. But as I we always have to be skeptical with that story because I always felt like Monaco could just be putting out information to scare AC Milan because obviously we hijacked Xerxes into giving them what they want for Fofana, and AC Milan is sort of close to getting that agreement with Monaco for Fofana, and I think Fofana is now AC Milan banned. Look, I've always wanted Fofana at United. Youssouf Fofana was my realistic dream midfield target this summer just because I think for £20 million he ticks so many boxes, and I really wanted United to push and pursue Youssouf Fofana, and I think he's a brilliant player, and it's a shame that we're not. I think Youssouf Fofana and Ugarte is almost like the perfect two signings to give that midfield the ultimate depth, to give that midfield the ultimate base. But United don't have the funds to pursue Fofana because they're focusing on Ugarte. They would like Fofana as a separate deal to Ugarte, but until they sell McTominay, they can't make a move for that. And because the McTominay sale is taking its time and happening so slowly, it's unlikely that we're going to have time to hijack the Fofana deal if he really is one step away from joining AC Milan, which is a shame as well. Do you think United will go for Braithwaite? You said that Braithwaite to United is not over, but look, I think that potentially if we made a lot of money through sales like Maguire, we got a last minute bid for Maguire and he wanted to leave, we could make an offer for Braithwaite, but we're not going to buy Braithwaite unless one, Everton accept under £60 million for him, 60 million under for him, and B, we make sales. I think Braithwaite is potentially a next season signing, depending on how things progress and go next season. Oh, we've got some updates on Ferdi here. And as I said earlier, I think Turkish sources are using Man United to speed up the Ferdi deal. Because Fabrizio Romano has just given an update on Ferdi to Brighton here, which would be a brilliant signing for Brighton. Romano said this: Ferdi's long-term deal at Brighton is ready and agreed in details. The player has confirmed to Fenerbahce personal terms are in place with Brighton. He wants to play in the Premier League, and the two clubs are in talks to agree transfer fee. So Ferdi and Brighton have agreed personal terms. So I think that Man United are being used to get a bigger bid out of Brighton because Romano has confirmed that Ferdi's agreed personal terms to join Brighton, and that's just been confirmed now, like this second. And half an hour before it's been confirmed that Ferdi's agreed personal terms with Fenerbahce. With Brighton, this has obviously come out from Fenerbahce sources that United have submitted a last-minute offer for Ferdi. United offered the most money in initial payments for the player, but Brighton's offer is worth more when add-ons is taken into account, and the Fenerbahce president's going to consider it. So, half an hour before it's been said by Romano that Ferdi's agreed personal terms with Brighton, apparently Man United have submitted an offer. They're trying to hijack the deal. La-di-da. I'm just assuming that we are being used. To be honest, I'm just assuming we are being used to get more money out of Brighton and get a fee that they want out of Brighton. I mean, it could be one to watch. You never know. We could do a late hijack on the deal, but I think it's one of those where sadly, United are getting used again as well. De Ligt, Lichi, Euro, we don't need to spend that much on another centre-back. Yeah, as much as I like Branthwaite, I think dropping 60 million on Branthwaite this window makes no sense when I think I would rather sign 2 midfielders for 60 million or a winger for 60 million, even though I like Ugarte and Rashford, than spend 60 million on Branthwaite. I think Branthwaite is a next season signing, and only a next season signing if there's defensive issues. We have that kind of money to spend on the centre-back, because I think for now, if you've got 3 really good centre-backs in Euro, De Ligt and Martinez that can all stay fit and rotate with each other, you're not really going to need to spend 60 million on the fourth. You could maybe get someone else in as a solid backup that could maybe play left back as well. So yeah, I don't see. Look, we apparently, according to the Mail and the Muppeteers, Branthwaite to United isn't over. We could make a surprise last minute offer. We still believe Everton want to sell if we can get him for the price that we want. We haven't given up on Branthwaite, but if we sign Branthwaite, I just feel like it would become a Chelsea kind of signing where it's a bit greedy. You've signed 2 centre backs already. You need a midfielder. You need a winger. Stop signing centre backs. It's like Chelsea keep signing right wingers when they need a centre back. So look, I wouldn't complain if we sign Branthwaite because he can play left back, but I don't want to sign Branthwaite to play him left back because Shaw's injured when he is a centre back. So I think Branthwaite is someone we'd look at next summer with maybe an Adam Wharton, those kind of deals. I mean, this summer for me is if we can bring in 1 solid midfielder, potentially 2, that'd be nice. And then depending on the Sancho situation, maybe another forward. But sorry about the yawning. But I don't think the forward market's that good at the moment. Like, I don't rate Chiesa. A lot of the good forwards like Neto have gone, Elise's gone, Sule I liked, he's gone. I mean, Bakayoko's probably the best option out there in the right wing market. That's realistic, I think. Due's obviously gone. So, I mean, the winger market at the moment is incredibly difficult as well. Ugarte offloaded, Sancho is a no-brainer. Sancho will cost us the Shield. I mean, I wouldn't say Sancho cost us the Shield. All he did was miss a penalty, and his penalty was a lot better than Johnny Evans. But I do think United are looking to offload Sancho as well. But yeah, I'd say with the Ferdi news, I think, because Brighton have now agreed personal terms with Ferdi, I think these 3 or 4 reports coming out of Turkey that United are putting a bid for Ferdi and we're challenging Brighton's bid is probably made up by Fenerbahce briefing the media that to scare Brighton, if I was going to be honest. Euro has potential. Euro has superstar potential as well, needs path for proper minutes. Yeah. I don't want to be Chelsea where if we buy Branthwaite De Ligt when Euro is injured, I feel like you do block that path for Euro. Branthwaite and Wharton will be main targets for summer 2025, and I think that's more of a better approach. Assuming Maguire goes, assuming Casemiro goes in 2025, I think Branthwaite and Wharton could be ones to look at as well. I don't know obviously we don't know what's going to happen with Adam Wharton in the next year. He might not have a good season. He might have a really good season at Palace. You don't know what the price is, but I think he's someone that United definitely like as well. We need left back before getting any forwards. Alfie Doughty could be perfect. I do like him actually. He had a good season. That's the one that had a good season at Luton. I think for me, because we believe in Harry Amos's potential and that Malacia is back and Luke Shaw is a good player when fit, I think someone like Reguilon on loan is the most likely possibility. Now, it's been said, if we do not sell anyone, it is a midfielder and it is a cheap left back on loan. If we do sell someone, it's a midfielder, potentially 2 midfielders, and then potentially could be more money going into a left back like a Doughty. It just depends on the sales. I don't think we sign an attacker unless Sancho is gone. Now, the feeling inside United is that Palisu is expected to go, Mejbri is expected to go, and Lindelof's now expected to go. They're 3 players that are now expected to go. Eriksen's one that could go. McTominay's one that could go and Sancho's one that could go, but that seems to be more complicated because of wages, but there is talks being discussed. Obviously, Napoli have reportedly flown out to England to try and advance on the Scott McTominay deal, so I think Scott McTominay to Napoli Fulham is definitely one to watch, but I think because McTominay's got 1 year left on his deal, it's going to drag to the end of the window, so those clubs think that they can get him for a cheaper price because we won't want to lose him for free next year. Kind of what we're doing with Ugarte, not that Ugarte has 1 year left on his deal, but we know that PSG really want to sell him. And as what Berrada is doing is drag this closer to deadline day. No one's going to give PSG what they want for Ugarte. Ugarte's focused on United only, which puts us in a strong position. PSG is sort of forced into agreeing our terms for Ugarte, I think, is the case as well. So yeah, Youssouf Fofana, as suspected, is close to AC Milan, and I think United were being used to speed along the move. I know we had genuine interest in Fofana, we liked him, but I think unless McTominay was sold, we weren't going to make a move for him. So, interestingly, there's now some updates saying that Jadon Sancho could stay at United. It was said that Jadon Sancho will now likely stay at Manchester United as interest from PSG has faded, and United say they're happy to keep a talent like Sancho and make him a key part of the squad if no suitors present themselves, is what has been said on Jadon Sancho. There was obviously reports saying that Sancho to PSG could be off. Now, whether this is a negotiation tactic as part of the we buy Ugarte, you buy Sancho, maybe conversations going on with PSG, maybe this is a negotiation tactic, maybe this is a little game from United, who knows. But United are very much acting like they don't need to sell Sancho. They're not too bothered about selling Sancho. And I kind of like that approach from United. I think United want to sell Sancho and I think they want to offload Sancho, but I think they're going to act like they're not interested in selling Sancho. You know, they're more than happy to keep him because he's a good player and they're only going to sell him for 40 million. And I think they're keeping that stance. So PSG don't think, oh, it's Man United, they're desperate to sell, they're desperate to bring in money, let's bend them over backwards and get Sancho on the cheap. I think United are making sure that they stay firm on their Sancho asking price because PSG is staying firm on their Ugarte asking price, although reports are coming and saying they're going to lower that. And I think it could be a situation of we buy Ugarte, they buy Sancho. But I think we want to sell Sancho and get good money for him. They want to sell Ugarte and get good money for him. I think it could be a buy for buy situation where if we buy Ugarte, they buy Sancho. I'm not saying that the deals are definitely connected, but I think that United are using Sancho to try and leverage their position to buy Ugarte, and also using the fact that PSG are very desperate to offload Ugarte and that he only wants United to leverage themselves to get the deal for the best sort of terms possible, because we haven't sold McTominay, we haven't sold Casemiro, and we do want to sign a midfielder. And it's said that regardless of sales, we will sign a midfielder, but we've got to make sure that midfield signing comes within budget. So we've got to be really careful with this approach in midfield due to the lack of sales as well. We just need to bridge the gap until Amos is ready, perhaps a loaned-in left-back. Yeah, so Mazraoui and Delo can both play left-back. Both play at left-back, yeah. For me, I think someone that comes in on loan like Reguilon, I'm not going to complain. Is Reguilon the best left-back in the world? No. But I think someone like Reguilon coming in on loan is a decent option for United to have going forward, and I would not complain at that as well. But someone said they're not buying Sancho. They have a massive squad or too many wingers already. They want to, but they sold Mbappe. They want to bring in 2 attackers. They've got Desiree Doué and they want to bring Sancho, and they're looking at Coleman as well. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, I want to get into what Omar Berrada has said on his Manchester United plans because I think it's really interesting. Omar Berrada said this: "It's been very busy summer so far. We've welcomed Xerxes, Euro, De Ligt and Mazraoui, all of whom have a bright future ahead of them. We've also delighted to see Bruno committing to his future and that Ten Hag's extended his contract." He said Dan Ashworth has joined the club as sporting director and Wilcox as technical director and also Bivol in recruitment. "We're building a strong and talented sporting strategy to work with Ten Hag to ensure long-term success." Omar Berrada then said this about Manchester United: "It's a busy time for the club. Everything we do has to help us perform on the pitch, and that's our top priority. It's very important, especially in times of change, that our connection with you, the supporters, is closer than ever. This will remain an important priority for us. You all must be the centre of everything we do." Omar Berrada said, "This is your club. I promise to never forget it and treat it with care, dedication, and respect it deserves." But what I really liked, and that Omar Berrada said this, and that Ratcliffe has said this, and what I really like that Ineos keeps saying this, because I think Ineos know that us fans have not been happy these last 18 years of Glazer ownership because commercial success has been prioritised over on-field success. I think Ineos know that the fans are not happy because of the fact that commercial success has been prioritised over on-field success at United so long that constantly Omar Berrada saying everything we do is to help us perform on the pitch, and that's our top priority. You've got Omar Berrada, Dan Ashworth and Ratcliffe coming out saying the priority is to do stuff that's going to help us perform on the pitch. And I like that Ineos are really reminding us of that, because I think they know the frustration we've had where in the past United have focused too much energy on what's going to make money rather than what's actually going to make us a good football team when Ed Woodward was pulling the strings. Because Ed Woodward himself in an interview said a club like Manchester United doesn't need to win trophies to generate a lot of money. We're so big commercially. He said shite like that before. So I really like that Ineos know that how we sort of feel in regards to, you know, this is our club, treat it well. Obi Martin could eventually be a good signing as well. 100%. I think Obi Martin's one that's obviously going to be moulded in. I'll give it a couple of years. But, you know, him and Wheatley could get opportunities off the bench. He's going into the under-18s. But that it's rattled so many Arsenal fans as well. Also, not related, United... not United related, but keep an eye on Ramsdale to Wolves. That's moving quickly, says LA Matthews. Do you know what? That doesn't surprise me, because I was talking to my stepdad, who's a Wolves fan, yesterday, and he was saying that Wolves are looking to move on. Not Patricio. Who's the Wolves keeper? Wolves goalkeeper. I know his name. Jose Sarr, that was it. Why am I thinking Patricio? So yeah, that doesn't surprise me in a little bit as well. I think in terms of United, if I was going to guess what's going to happen at United, I think it is probably a midfielder. Regardless of sales, I think we'll get a midfielder. I think it will be Berge or Ugarte. It just depends on the fee for them. If PSG are going to be silly with Ugarte, which I don't think they will be, I think PSG will be determined to sell Ugarte this window, and I think they'll have to stop being silly. I think it could be a guy, if not, it'll be Berge. And then I think it's a left back on loan. I think a left back on loan and Ugarte or Berge is probably going to happen this window. Midfield is definitely priority. And then if sales happen like McTominay, like Sancho, like Lindelof, like Mejbri, like Pellistri, like Ericsson, I think there's a possibility of, yes, a second midfield signing and maybe something further up in attack as well. But I don't know about Ivan Toney. Like, we have been credibly linked to him, but I don't know if United are being used to speed up interest in him because Brentford want to cash him. I'm not sure, because I get that we've sort of been playing this 4-2-4 out of possession where Mount and Bruno have almost been false nines and Sancho's been a false nine. So maybe we want more striker type players. But I would say that if I was United, I'd be looking more at bringing in a winger than a striker, to be honest, because I think Xerxes and Højlund are great options. They're young. I just feel like Ivan Toney would want to start week in, week out. So that would be my fear with a potential deal for Ivan Toney. So just want to keep you up to date on some of the other news stories that came in that I covered in my late night roundup. But Amrabat has been removed from the United website. Apparently, Amrabat's officially been removed from the United website. He's no longer got any affiliation with the club, which could be a strong indication that we're not going back in for him. It was also said that Atletico Madrid have had a look at Amrabat, but who knows what's going to happen. United have not made any progress or attempts to really negotiate a deal to bring in Amrabat. I think they just want him on loan again on the cheap. It said that the two priorities for Man United continues to be, he said that the long-term priorities for Man United continue to be two midfielders, a left-back and a centre-back. I think one midfielder and a left-back on loan is probably the priority now, followed by second midfielder and centre-back, maybe an attacker depending on if Sancho is sold. It was also said that Man United should keep an eye on, Man United are keeping an eye on the Branthwaite situation, maybe should Everton lower their fee. Muppeteer said in terms of long-term, so probably unlikely to happen this summer, but United like Kirkus and Ain't Nore, but they're potentially going to be next summer deals because it looks like United are probably next year may move on Luke Shaw due to his constant fitness issues, which does make a lot of sense as well. I really like Luke Shaw. I think he's one of the best left-backs in football. I really am a massive fan of Luke Shaw, but I think with his breadstick legs, we might have to move him on. Man United are expecting some formal bids for Ericsson, and a number of clubs have actually explored deal conditions for Ericsson. So I think Ericsson's Man United exit is definitely one to watch at the moment. It was also said that Napoli's interest in Scott McTominay is genuine. However, would be surprised if United were willing to sanction a loan deal, as they need transfer funds to source a replacement as well. So obviously that was said on the Scott McTominay front. Obviously covered that in my late night roundup last night, and then obviously other updates coming in about the McTominay situation, but we want 25 million. It was said that PSG do not want to lower the fee for Ugarte, but there is a feeling that they will have to, and United are optimistic. Muppeteers then confirmed that there is interest in Hannibal, Mejbri and Pellistri, and United are looking at similar deals to what they've got for Alvaro Fernandez and Kambala, which is like £10 million, but with add-ons and sell-on clauses, and that PSG do not appear to be Jadon Sancho's likely destination. He's currently not in their plans, according to Jason Burt, and Man United are ready to give Sancho another fight. Whether this is a negotiation tactic, whether Sancho to PSG is off, we'll have to wait and see. But that is a roundup of all your latest sort of United news for you guys. I wanted to keep this video sort of short and sweet and in the news. Obviously, the big update coming in is that we've made a big offer for 30 to hijack the Brighton deal. But as I've said multiple times, I would take this with a pinch of salt. I think Man United are being used to get a better deal out of Brighton. But I want to thank everyone for tuning into today's show. United are looking at Bradley Locko as an option at left back for next summer, young dynamic French defender with a low fee. And do you know what? I heard that about 3 months ago. I got told to keep an eye on Bradley Locko and that he was definitely a player that United liked. I actually got told that as well. So I think that could be one to watch next season. Thank you, Matthew. And good luck finding takers for sure with his injury record in recent seasons. He's such a good player, but he's never available. Reece James and Luke Shaw. I think England have got two of the best fullbacks in football, but they're just never available. And that's the frustration, because like Chelsea have got it with Reece James, we got it with Luke Shaw. We know their quality, but it's to the point where it's like, we know how good you are, but sometimes Yeah, like Reece James is already injured as well. That must be really frustrating. But listen, I'm going to wrap up the live show here. Thank you everyone for tuning in to today's shorter live show. Hope you found it informing. I will keep you guys up to date if any more news updates come out this afternoon. I'll probably be back live 4:30, 5 o'clock, unless there's any breaking news. You could see me before. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up the show here. Thank you for watching, and bye.